Alright, so my complaining paid off. I was lucky enough to get the Transformers Titans Return Wave 3 kickback. Now, I'm still waiting on one of the three that came out in that wave, but I'm really happy to have this guy. I'm even happier that I've done some custom paint work on him. We're going to talk about everything to do with him in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. I am humbled that you are here. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share, let me know what you think. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, and Me Everywhere, and have a look at Universal Collision. Spend some time on the page, check it out, see what it is that might tickle your fancy. And man, oh man, oh man. Let's take this guy out of it right away, because that's not where I want to begin. I'm going to start with this. It's his box. It's a box. I'm not spending time on it. I'm not really worried about showing you the top here. Whatever. It's a box. We have the stuff on the back that has his. Well, actually, I will show the back. Let's take this back a bit. I will show the back here a bit. You will notice that out of package, he has yellow translucent wings, and his arms were completely purple, and his upper legs were purple, and his visor was black. Out of package, I think his paint apps were about a 7, maybe a 7. They're pretty good. You know that it's kickback, there's no doubt. But it's not quite right. It's not quite kickback. They're about a 7. They're pretty good, but not stellar. So, that being said, I did a few custom paint apps on this guy, and I want to explain something first, so I'm just going to adjust these. Out of package, he is in this position. Let's come in closer here on him again. Out of package, he's in this position with his wings down on his back. But naturally, we all know for the correct silhouette, you should turn them up, and they're on. I guess they're on, well, it's ball joints in here. It's hinges right here, but it's into a ball joint on his leg section. So it's no problem to turn them up. And now we have a more proper silhouette for him. I painted the upper thighs black. I painted his upper arms black. I painted the translucent silver, the translucent gold silver, because they should be silver. That being said, I did not paint down here on the hinge. Translucent plastic is a funny thing. Normally I'm not a fan of it. Now and then I think it works, but it does tend to be more brittle, and I have made the mistake in the past in doing customs, and consider this a bit of advice for anybody thinking about doing the same thing. That when I have painted the translucent hinges, paint has gotten in around the pin or something and stuck, and as brittle as translucent plastic can be, it has broken off. I had it happen with the Age of Extinction Snarl figure, and I had to go get a new one when I basically broke off his tail pieces. So I tend not to paint those hinges because I know that they are more delicate. That being said, I also, with a toothpick, because a lot of people wonder, how do you do this stuff? With a toothpick, I painted his visor silver. Now, painted his visor red. Up above it, you will see some silver. That was on the toy, but in the animation, that section above his eyes was black. I left it silver because I think it looks cooler, and it does put me more in the mind of kickback. I have been very, I guess, fortunate in that he hasn't been plentiful around here, so I'm really glad to have him. Paint apps overall now, I honestly think they're 10. I think that is kickback. No doubt in my mind. So yeah, I would call that a significant jump. Going from a 7 to a 10. I call that a significant jump. Indeed. I looked at the vintage G1 kickback back in episode 177. Unfortunately, I don't have him here with me now handy to kind of show him off next to this guy, but you can certainly check that out and kind of see how he stacks up next to that one. But I think he looks a lot more the part now. Taking him out of it for a moment, I already showed the packaging. Here is his ever popular collector card. Again, you'll notice that the wings here are silver, the upper arms are black, the thighs are black, so, and the visor is red. So this was kind of what I wanted to go for, because I felt like this embodied him a lot more. Tech specs on the back. His strength sort of makes sense, I guess, to me. His speed I thought would be a little bit higher. His fire blast is about right. His intelligence is way up there. That sort of surprises me. I figured that would be a little bit lower. Probably by, I don't know, by a mark of 2 lower, if that makes any sense to anyone. So taking that out of it, here he is again. Just position him there. Here he is next to Bombshell, who I also, since the review of this guy, way back in episode 168, I've done some custom work on him, making his entire head silver, as well as that little crest piece, I guess, and making the front of his legs black. And of course, here he is next to Shrapnel/Skrapnel, whose eyes I also painted red. If he wants to stand for me, which he doesn't seem to want to do right now. There we go. Whose eyes I also painted red, and whose thighs I painted silver, since I looked at him in full back in episode 167. And just because I had a stand-in for Kickback for a while. Actually, let's move these guys back here a little bit. Here he is next to the Transformers Prime, my custom painted Transformers Prime hardshell. I had him as my kickback stand-in because he has wings. I know, it's not exactly perfect or accurate or anything like that, but I looked at this guy in full back in episode 169. So for me now, I sort of feel like I have a quartet of insecticons, and I kind of really dig that, to be honest with you. I think that that's pretty cool. That being said, the purple is different on all of them, as is the yellow. I mean, the yellow that I used on hardshell was what I had myself, as is his purple and his black. You look at the main 3, and I think it's safe to say that Skrapnel and Kickback have the closest purple match. I do think that that's probably the safest thing to say. I would have liked if all of them kind of had the orangey, maybe I should move this a little bit. I would have liked if all of them had Bombshell's orangey yellow. I think that that just looks sort of rich and lustrous. But I mean, I'm not going to go painting that section of them. I'm going to leave that because to me, it's not worth it. But I feel like out of the 3 of these, Bombshell is the one that's the most different. And maybe that's okay, because I always sort of saw him in the leadership role, although many would argue that that role belongs to Shrapnel. So taking him out of it and him out of it, we're going to jump into articulation for this guy and transformation. Well, the articulation is actually pretty great for him. We have a head that can go left and right. These antennae are soft and they do move a little bit, but not really. If you're going to move them, you're really just going to move the head all the way up. That's for transformation, but hey, you've got a head that can go all the way back. I think that that's so cool. These wing pieces, I mean, they can come out to the side and they can stay on his back or rotate down. They do move out. They do move out this way. Let me back this up. because he's surprisingly big for a, you know, a Legends figure because of these wings. They can move back, they can move in. His arms can go all the way out to the side. He has a nice over 90 degrees at the elbow, and because that's on a ball joint, we kind of get that false bicep swivel, I guess you could say. Nothing at the waist. The legs go all the way forward. The legs go all the way back. We have a little over 90, if not 90 at the knee. Very slightly over 90 at the knee. When you straighten these out, because of his transformation, you'll hear this. I don't know if you heard it or not. There's a little snap. His knees actually lock because of transformation, so it's up to you if you lock them or not. But overall, he does everything I would like him to do. I do find that he can be slightly fiddly to stand because his feet aren't huge. He does it fine. It's just you got to kind of find that sweet spot. Overall, I'm going to say his articulation does pretty much everything that you would want it to do for a figure of this size. I'm going to give that a 9. So right now we have a 10 and a 9. This guy's scoring a 9.5. Let's look at his transformation next. The easy things. Lock those knees. Pull out this purple section. His foot will go up into his shin. And then straighten out that bug leg. Same over here, of course. And really, that's the, you know, back half of him done. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Take the shoulders. Actually, you know what? We won't take the shoulders next. What we'll do is we're going to turn the head around. And you can actually see the purple ball joint all the way up there in the head. We lean the head all the way back. And we bring the bug head up over his robot face. His bug head was a backpack that you didn't really notice because the wings and the bug legs were sort of keeping it hidden. That's the easy part's done. That's his head and thorax really done. We just have to do the legs and get these arms out of the way. These arms come down. And when they come down, you can bring them really all the way down. Now, I did find these to be a bit of a nuisance, to be honest with you. The idea is that you get them in over this section here, and then they sort of tab together and peg together right here in between the legs. But that's not the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. So we've got the arms down. Let's get the bug legs flipped up. And these bug legs flipped up and sort of out of the way a little bit, so I can sort of hopefully show you what it is that we're trying to do here. Maybe, if I'm real lucky. We get this arm in behind, and you may have to, here's the thing, what a nuisance. Here's the thing, you really got to kind of wiggle the shoulder in such a way that you get the clearance to bring this arm down under. And that's not the easiest thing in the world, I find, to do. Okay, sorry for the cut, but I felt like the easiest way for me to show this was to actually do it and then show you what it was that I had done. Let's try and hold him by his legs so I can bring this in close enough for you to see. Underneath, his arms really need to look like this. The shoulders need to be in this position so that the forearms get the clearance they need to get under his legs. Or under his, I guess, hips. Now, it's not a big deal, but you do need to finagle it a little bit to get them down there. And it is a little bit of a nuisance. And I know that that's black and not the easiest to see with the way I got it done. But basically, there's a rectangular slit on his shoulder. That should be sort of diagonally facing down toward the bottom. Then you just twist the forearms on the ball joints and you tab them together down underneath, and it sort of makes the bottom part of his thorax underneath here. You can now bring these legs down out of the way there. You see the thorax in between here. You can push it up a bit more to get it tighter to the body. Some people do that. I don't, because where I have it custom painted. The legs, if you didn't already have them flipped out, make sure now that they're flipped out to the side. And twist this wing down and twist this wing down. And position them like that. And boom, there you go. You have Kickback in his bug mode. And I think he looks pretty spectacular. I really, really dig it. There is storage for a Titan Master again. This translucent chest piece opens up. You stick the Titan Master's feet down in the slot and you put him in a seated position and he sits down. This cannot come back down over him. A little bit too bad, but I mean, you know, the physics are the physics. I really wish that I could have really sort of shown you the shoulders there easier, but it is kind of tricky. They come down on this little purple hinge here, and then you need to kind of rotate them in such a way that you can be sure to get the forearms in over the hip pieces, and then just rotate this and get it together. It's a little bit of finagling to do it. So transformation for this guy, I'm going to give, because of that bit of finagling, and it can be a bit of a nuisance, it will definitely be a bit of a nuisance for kids. And his arms aren't particularly thick, so I don't know if you could possibly break something. And those purple hinges aren't particularly thick. I just feel it's slightly delicate. I'm going to give his transformation a 6.5. He was a 9.5. His transformation is a 6.5. I love Kickback. I'm so glad to have him. I think the engineering that went into him to pull this off is pretty brilliant. But at the end of the day, I think he's about a 7.5. He's not the strongest in the wave. I'll do a really quick transformation back, just so hopefully we can sort of see how these arms come out a little easier than how they went in. Fold the bug legs up and fold the bug legs up. Fold these around and fold these around. Split the hands right there. And now, because again, I'm dealing with black here too. And now, fold those bug legs back out of the way. Fold those bug legs back out of the way. And now you can see what we have in here. And I'm trying to get that out of the way. You can see that we got this purple hinge in here. And you can see the way the shoulder is. The side of the shoulder is kind of what's facing you. So now you need to bring that out over the hip piece. Or if you're doing it the other way, you bring it in over the hip piece. You bring this all the way up. So the arms are kind of in this position when you bring them up. Pull them forward and rotate them down. Same on the other side. We have that purple hinge. We bring it up over. The arms are in this position. Bring it forward and down. And of course rotate the forearm so that the fist is facing forward. Bring this down. Bring these two wing pieces back. Take the bug head and flip it back. I know I don't normally do this. That comes up. And we turn his head back around and we have him back again in his robot mode right there. I hope that in doing, you know, both the forward and backward transformation for this guy, that it's helped sort of show how to handle those shoulder pieces a little bit. It's just a slight bit of a pain. It's almost, to me it feels like they didn't know what to do with the arms, so it's like, we'll tuck them in underneath somewhere. I see why, because with his bug mode being what it is, it's difficult to find a place to do it. Anyway, that's it. Overall, he is a 7.5. I think he is beautiful. Is he worth getting to finish out your Insecticon trio? Is he worth getting just as a cool figure? Yeah, I think so. But know what you're getting into with that shoulder transformation. I love him. I don't regret for a second having him. So glad to finish off that trio. And so glad that you dropped by to give me some of your valuable time. As always, let me know what you think. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together for another visit right here inside the video.